Hello everyone, welcome to Shankar's summary. In this part, we'll be discussing Indian economy and international relations. So here you can see the list of topics that we'll be discussing from economy, and here we have the list of topics that we'll be discussing from international relations. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first question. The question is, consider the following statements regarding angel tax in India. Statement 1, angel tax is levied when investment received by a startup exceeds its fair market valuation and is treated as income under the Income Tax Act. Statement 2, DPIIT registered startups are automatically exempted from angel tax without requiring any further approval. Statement 3, initially only investments from resident Indian investors were taxed under the angel tax provision. And statement 4, as of April 2024, investments from both resident and non-resident investors are eligible for exemption from angel tax. Which of the above statements is or are correct? So from these four statements, which statement sounds little bit odd? Yes, the statement 2, because DPIIT registered startups are automatically exempted from angel tax without requiring any further approval. This statement is wrong because the DPIIT registration is not enough to get automatic exemption. For that, a startup has to satisfy certain conditions, including they should not have any investment in luxury products or land. At the same time, they should get approval from CBDT, that is the Central Board for Direct Tax. That means this board should not have any obligation for giving tax exemption to the startup. Therefore, we can eliminate the statement 2. If we eliminate the statement 2, we can easily reach the correct answer, that is option B, 1, 3 and 4. Let's check. Yes. So here you can see the explanation. And so why we are discussing this? Because in the budget 2024, the Department for the Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, they suggested the government to remove the angel tax to promote more startups in India. So what is meant by angel tax? Angel tax refers to the tax levied on the excess capital raised by unlisted companies, that is startups, when the amount raised exceeds the fair market value of the share issued. For example, if the fair market value of a startup is, let's say it is 100 rupees, but through the through selling their share they got 200 rupees, so they got 100 rupees extra. So from this 100 rupees, the government will impose tax. They have to pay around 30 rupees as tax, that is 30% as tax. So this excess amount will be can be treated as income, and from this income the government can collect tax. Therefore, the angel tax means it is a tax levied on the excess capital raised by unlisted companies. So according to the Income Tax Act of 1961, it will be considered as income, and the government can tax 30% of the exceeded amount. So coming to the next question, with reference to the Goods and Service Tax and GST Council in India, consider the following statements. Integrated GST collected on interstate supplies is levied and collected by the central government, but it is apportioned between sender and the destination state. And statement 2, the decision making process in GST Council ensures that no decision can be passed without support from majority of the states. Which of the above statements is or are correct? See, in the case of integrated GST, the tax is imposed by the government, therefore it is levied by the central government and it is collected by the central government, and later it will be divided between the sender and the destination state. The destination state is the state where the goods and services finally reaches. Therefore, the statement 1 is correct. And the decision making process in the GST Council ensures that no decision can be passed without support from the majority of the state. For taking a decision in the GST Council, we need a total vote weightage of 75%. And if you take the the weightage of the central government, it will come only around 1/3. At the same time, the weightage for all the states is 2/3. Therefore, the state has more weightage, and to take a decision, we need a weightage of 3/4. And to achieve this 3/4, the support from the majority of the state is required. Therefore, the statement 2 is also correct. And the correct answer is option C. Both 1 and 2, both statements are correct. So why we are discussing this? Because recently the government decided to discontinue the practice of publishing GST data on the regular basis. So therefore, the news article from the Indian Express is talking about the transparency related to the GST administration. So coming to some of the important facts related to the GST goods and service tax, we have the first we are going to see the constitutional backing. So it is introduced through the 101st Constitution Amendment Act of 2016 and it is implemented from 1st July 2017. And coming to the types of GST, we have the central GST which is collected by the central government, and this is replacing the central excise duty, service tax, etc. And then we have the state GST collected by the state governments, that is replacing the value added tax and the luxury tax. And then we have the integrated GST which is collected by the center, but later it will be shared among the states based on the GST Council's recommendation. And here we have some of the important products which are exempted under the GST, that includes petroleum product, alcohol for human consumption, stamp duty and electricity duty. And coming to the GST Council, it is a constitutional body under the Article 279 of the Indian Constitution and it is chaired by the Union Finance Minister. And coming to the voting mechanism or decision making, for making a decision, the council needs 3/4 majority, and if you take the weightage of the center, it is coming only 1/3, and the states collectively they have 2/3. Therefore, the majority of the state support is needed for making any decision from the GST Council. So coming to the next question, with reference to the index of 8 core industries in India, consider the following statements. Statement 1: the weight of the crude oil in the ICI is higher than that of the electricity. Statement 2: the ICI is prepared and published by the Central Statistical Organization under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And statement 3: the performance of the core sectors directly influence the index of industrial production. And the statement 4: the fertilizer sector has the lowest weight among the 8 core industries in the ICI. So which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 3 and 4 only, and option D 1, 3 and 4 only. So therefore we can eliminate this statement 2. See, the statement 2, the ICI, it is prepared and published by the Office of Economic Advisor under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It is not done by the Central Statistical Organization under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It is done by the Office of Economic Advisor under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Therefore, we can eliminate the option statement 2. In that way, we can eliminate option A, option B. So left is option C and option D. Option C, so statement 3, the performance of the core industries directly influence the index of industrial production. See, the thing is, the 8 core industries, the performance constitutes around 40% of the index of industrial production. Therefore, the performance of the core industry will directly influence the index of industrial production. The statement 3 is correct. So statement 4, we will see the fertilizer sector has the lowest weight among the 8 core industries in the ICI. And at the same time, we can see the weight of the crude oil in the ICI is higher than that of the electricity. See, the statement 1 is wrong here because the petroleum and refinery products comes first. Therefore, we can eliminate the the statement 1, and therefore we will reach the correct option, that is option C, 3 and 4 only. Yes. So why we are discussing this? Because in July 2024, the key infrastructure sector's growth has rebounded to 6.1% in India. And here you can see the index of 8 core industries. It is prepared by the Office of Economic Advisor under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the base year for the preparation is 2011-12. And what is ICI? So it's a monthly economic indicator that measures the production and performance of 8 core industries, and it is representing around 40.27% of the index of industrial production. So it's a monthly economic indicator that measures the production and performance of 8 core industries. So what is meant by core industry? Core industry refers to the industries which are critical for the economic growth and the industrial growth of a nation. For in the case of India, we have coal, natural gas, we have steel, cement, fertilizer, and then we have the refinery products, crude oil and natural gas, right? And fertilizer. So therefore, we have 8 core industries, and this ICI will measure the production and the performance of this 8 core industries, and this 8 core industries represents nearly 40% of the index of industrial production. See, this index of industrial production, it is published by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and it measures, this index of the industrial production measures a short-term change in the industrial production in India. So here you can see the recent performance of different industries in the 8 core industries. So recently we can see the steel and refinery products, cement and fertilizer, these industries are growing, while the crude oil and the coal industry is slowing down. And according to the recent study, we can see an overall growth in the ICI, that is that was 1.5 in June 2024, and now it is 6.1. And economists are forecasting that even though there is a slowdown in the crude oil industry and coal industry, we can expect a stable growth in the coming days. So here you can see the weightage of different industries. So first we have the petroleum refinery products, and second we have the electricity, then it is followed by steel, coal, crude oil, natural gas, cement and fertilizer. So the fertilizer has the lowest weightage, therefore the fourth statement was correct, and the petroleum and refinery products comes first, not the crude oil, and therefore the statement 1 is incorrect. So the next question, with reference to the income inequality in India, consider the following statement. Statement 1, the agriculture sector in India employs less than 1/3 of the workforce but contributes over 1/4 of the GDP. Statement 2, the top 10% of India's population accounts for more than half of the national income, highlighting extreme income inequality. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, if you take the statement 2, if you take the recent World Inequality report, which is published by the Inequality Lab from Paris, so they found that in the year 2000, the top 10 population of India held nearly 40% of the nation's wealth. And according to the recent report, that is in the year 2024, it increased to 58%. That means more than half of the national income. Currently, it is held by the top, the 10% of India's population. Therefore, the statement 2 is correct. So remember the World Inequality report, which is published by the Inequality Lab, which is based in Paris. So remember that fact also. And according to their last estimation, they are saying that in the year 2000, the top 10% of the India's population held nearly 40% of the wealth, and currently it is 58%. That is, there is an increase of nearly 18%. And coming to the statement, so here we can see the statement 2 is correct. So coming to the statement 1, the agriculture sector in India employs less than 1/3 of the workforce. See, currently the agriculture sector, employs nearly 42% of the total workforce in India. Therefore, the statement 2, less than 1/3, means it is incorrect. So therefore, the correct answer is option B, 2 only. So here you can see the agriculture currently employs nearly 42% of the workforce and contributes only 16%, not over 1/4. Therefore, the statement 1 is totally incorrect, but the statement 2 is correct. So why we are discussing this article? Because recently, last year, the World Inequality report was published, and the income inequality is increasing everywhere in this world, and one of the regions most affected is Latin America and South Asia, including India. And what is meant by income inequality? That is unequal distribution of income among the population. So what are the causes? Regressive taxation, unequal access to education and skill, weak labor laws, regional infrastructure gap, globalization effects, sectoral disparities. That means certain sectors will be developing while certain sectors are lagging behind. Regressive taxation, that means irrespective of the income, everyone has to pay the same amount of tax. Unequal access to the education. If there is no education, then there is no skill or knowledge, then there is no employment, then there is no income. Weak labor laws, so that means more, which will make the laborers more vulnerable to exploitation, and one of the forms of exploitation is lack of income. And the next is regional infrastructure gap. For example, within a nation, certain regions will have developments while certain regions will be lagging behind. And globalization effects. So the globalization or liberalization policies, they promoted more MNCs, but at the same time ensuring a quality or a living standard to the people, it's still a matter of question. So here you can see some of the important initiatives taken by the government of India to address this income inequality. First, we have the direct benefit transfer. Then we have the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which is aiming for financial inclusion. And then we have the MG Narega, which will provide 100 days job to the rural area. And Skill India Mission, and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, both are focusing on skill development. and Code on Wages 2019, which is focusing on wage standardization, and then we have the National Infrastructure Pipeline, which is focusing on infra growth in the rural infrastructure development in the rural area. And here you can see the nodal ministries for each programs. Please note this, it is very important for the prelims. And coming to the statistics, like I mentioned, according to the World Inequality Report, you can see that 10% currently holds nearly 58% of the national income. And here you can see the gender wage gap also. That means for every 100 rupees earned by men, at the same time the women is earning only 40 rupees for every 100 rupees earned by a man. And then agriculture sector, like we discussed, employs 42%, but it contributes only 16% to the GDP. And the next question: arrange the following government initiatives related to capital expenditure and investment-led growth in chronological order of their launch. 1. Making India. 2. National Infrastructure Pipeline. 3. PM Gati, and 4. Production Linked Incentive Scheme. So Making India, we know that it was launched somewhere between 2014-15, and then we have the pipeline, that is a National Infrastructure Pipeline project. This was launched in 2019, and then we have the Gati, which was launched in 2021-22, and then we have the PLI scheme, Production Linked Incentive Scheme, and the first phase was launched in 2020, and currently we are in the phase 2 of the PLI, that is PLI 2.0, which is focusing more on manufacturing, especially the hardware. So in this way, we can see that first the first is the Making India, and next is a National Infrastructure Pipeline. Then we have the Production Linked Incentive Scheme, and then comes the PM Gati, which is focusing on infrastructure development. So therefore, the correct answer is option C, 1, 2, 4 and 3. Yes. So yes, Making India was launched in 2014. National Infrastructure Pipeline project initiative was launched in 2019, and the Production Linked Incentive Scheme which was brought in 2020, and the Gati was brought in 2021. So why we are discussing this? Because recently the RBI projected a GDP growth of 6.8% for the the second quarter of the financial year 2024-25, and this growth was supported by the domestic demand and public investment. So public investment, especially for the infrastructure development. So the next question: which of the following statements correctly explains why the Reserve Bank of India prefers the consumer price index over the wholesale price index for inflation targeting? Option A, consumer price index excludes volatile food and fuel prices, which makes it more accurate. And option B, CPI reflects the prices paid by the consumers and indicates the cost of living. And C, wholesale price index is not calculated by any government agency. This statement is wrong. Wholesale price index is calculated by the Office of Economic Advisor under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So therefore, this statement is definitely incorrect. And next we have the option D, wholesale price index better represents rural inflation but not urban. See, this statement is also incorrect. So the next we have the option A. So the consumer price index excludes volatile food and fuel prices. Excluding the volatile products for calculating the inflation, that is done for calculating the core inflation. But the question here is why the Reserve Bank of India always prefers the consumer price index over the wholesale price index. That is because the CPI reflects the prices paid by the consumers and indicates the cost of living. So here we can get a more accurate picture about the inflation, the current inflation trend, and that's why the Reserve Bank of India always prefers the consumer price index over the wholesale price index. So therefore, this option B is the correct answer. And why we are discussing this? Because recently the All India Consumer Price Index for agricultural labours and the rural labours registered an increase of 5 points each in November 2024. So here we can see some of the important facts related to inflation. What is meant by inflation? We have discussed this many times. Inflation means a general rise in the general price level, which will eventually reduce the purchasing power of the consumer. And measurement of the inflation, for that we have two index in India. First is the Consumer Price Index, which is published by the measured by the National Statistical Office, and the base year is 2012. And then the wholesale price index, it is published by measured by the Office of Economic Advisor and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and base year for calculating the wholesale price index is 2011 to. And inflation targeting in India, so CPI is used for targeting the inflation. This is because this will reflect the retail prices and the cost of living, because it is paid directly by the consumer, therefore it will reflect the cost of living of the people in the economy. So here you can see the two major types of inflation. First is headline inflation. It includes all prices of all items, including food, fuel, and other commodities. But in the case of core inflation, it excludes the volatile, food and fuel. So therefore, this whole studying, through studying the headline inflation, we can go for a long-term understanding about the impact of this inflation or the the economy, and at the same time it will help in monetary policy decision. And the next is in the case of core inflation, it will help us to understand the current inflationary trend, and it is used for short-term monetary policy, while in the case of understanding the headline inflation will be used for long-term monetary policies. And in the case of both headline and the core inflation, it is measured using either changes in the CPI or WPI. So next, we have a match the following question. The question is match the poverty estimation methods in India with their corresponding features. So in the column A we have a certain committees, and in the column B we have certain features. So Tendulkar committee, so this was formed in the year 2008-9, and then we have the Rangarajan committee, which was formed between 2014, and then we have the early planning commission and multi-dimensional poverty index. So we have to align with the correct feature. So the Tendulkar committee, it included both food and non-food essentials in defining poverty. No, the Tendulkar committee actually recommended a uniform poverty line for rural and urban area. And the Rangarajan committee, it recommended inclusion of both food and non-food essentials in defining poverty. And early planning commission focused on calorie-based poverty, measurement. For example, for the rural area, the calorie is 2,400, and for the urban area, the calorie will be 2,100. So if a person is not able to intake this 2,400 in rural and 2,100 in urban area, then we will consider that person living under the poverty. And then we have the multi-dimensional poverty index, which measures the other indicators also, like the health, education, and the standard of living. So therefore, the correct answer is A goes to 3, right? Therefore, the correct answer is option. So A goes to 3. Yes, there is only one option that there the A goes to 3. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. So here you can see the explanation. So go through this. And why we are discussing this? Because recently the State Bank of India, they published a report saying that the poverty gap is shrinking between the urban and rural India. And this, even though they are saying this, many economists and many think tanks, they asked a lot of questions about the methodology adopted by the SBI for coming to this conclusion. So here you can see some of the data from the SBI report. So the rural poverty fell from 25 to 4%, and the urban poverty fell from 13 to 4%. And this is because of the increased consumption through direct benefit transfer, rural infrastructure development, and farmer-centric schemes of the government. And finally they concluded that the poverty between the rural area and the urban area is shrinking. So we know that eliminating poverty is number one goal of the Sustainable Development Goals, and we are just 5 years from now to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and it is. So Sustainable Development Goal and poverty. We know that eliminating poverty is the number first goal of the SDG, right? And we have to, India is also targeting to eliminate the poverty by 2030, and key programs, for example, Ayushman Bharat, which will provide universal health care through insurance, right? And then we have the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to support the housing, and then we have the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which is focusing on financial inclusion. And these developments are monitored by the Niti Aayog using the National Multidimensional Poverty Index. Next question, consider the following statements regarding coal gasification financial incentive scheme. Statement 1, under the scheme, only private sector can participate in the coal gasification project. Statement 2, the objective of the scheme is to achieve 10,000 million ton of coal gasification by 2075. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. So what is meant by coal gasification? Coal gasification is a process of converting the coal into synthetic gas. That means the coal will be broken into small pieces, and after this broken pieces will be exposed before temperature and oxygen. After partial oxidation, the impurities in the coal will be removed and it will be used for various purposes. This is known as coal gasification. And in the year 2020, the Ministry of Coal launched the coal gasification mission. And the objective of the mission is to achieve 10,000 million, no, it is 100 million ton of coal gasification by 2030, not 2075. Therefore, the statement 2 is incorrect. And coming to the statement 1, under the scheme, only private sector. See, the statement is, sounds little extreme here. Therefore, this is also wrong. Both the public and private sector can participate in the coal gasification projects. Therefore, the statement 1 and 2 both are incorrect. So, the correct answer is option D, neither 1 nor 2. So, here you can see the explanation. So, recently, the Ministry of Coal signed an agreement with the 4 entities as a part of this financial incentive scheme for coal gasification. So, next question, which of the following statements best defines the orange economy? Option A, the economy based on recycling, repair and reuse. Option B, the economy focusing on rainbow market. And option C, the economy based on creative activities. And option D, the economy based on horticulture. So the economy based on recycling, repair and reuse, it is known as circular economy, right? And the economy based on rainbow market, it is known as pink economy. And economy based on horticulture, it is known as golden economy. So the correct answer is option C, the economy based on creative activities, it is known as orange economy. Because in the recent times, India is planning to formalize the creator, the entertainment industry. For example, we know that the digital content creation, we can see the rise of many OTT platforms. So if we can commercialize the creative activities in the economy, then that will also contribute to the economic growth and it will open a lot of opportunities. And you can see that recently in Mumbai, the World Audio Visual and Entertainment Summit was held, and there the creator economy was a main matter of discussion. So the next question, consider the following statements regarding the India Skills Accelerator initiative. Statement 1, it was launched by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in collaboration with the World Economic Forum. Statement 2, the initiative aims to reduce the skill gap in the economy through skilling, reskilling and investment mobilization. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. So here you can see that if you can make sure that the statement 1 is correct, then statement 2 will be automatically correct. So the India Skills Accelerator initiative, it is launched by the Ministry of Skill Development in collaboration with the World Economic Forum. This statement is correct. Therefore, the initiative aims to reduce the skill gap. How? Through skilling, reskilling and investment mobilization. So therefore, you can see that the both statements are related. So therefore, both statements are correct. So here the right answer is option C, both 1 and 2. So recently we can see that the Skill Development Ministry teams up with the World Economic Forum for India Skill Acceleration. And the next, consider the following statements regarding National Manufacturing Mission 2025. Statement 1, it was introduced in the Union Budget of 2025 and it focuses. Statement 2, it focuses on economic growth, sustainable development and ease of doing business. Which of the statements is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, the National Manufacturing Mission, it was introduced in the 2025 budget only. So the statement 1 is correct and it is focusing on economic growth, sustainable development and ease of doing business. See, we can see that one of the major objective of the manufacturing mission of 2025 is enhancing the renewable energy sector, that is focusing on solar energy, wind energy, like that. So therefore it is maintaining a balance between the economic growth and sustainable development and also focusing on ease of doing business, because in the recent times we can see that India reduced a lot of penalties for under various laws. At the same time, we are also for example, we saw that the department for industrial, for the promotion of industry and the internal trade, they recommended the elimination of the angel tax for encouraging more startups. So in this way, the one of the objects of this manufacturing mission will be developing ease of doing business habits. Therefore, both the statements are correct and the correct answer is option C, both 1 and 2. So here you can see that in the 2025, the new national manufacturing mission was launched was introduced in the budget. So the next question, consider the following statements regarding the National Turmeric Board. Statement 1, the headquarters of the National Turmeric Board is located in Bangalore. Statement 2, the National Turmeric Board looks after the development of turmeric sector and the welfare of farmers. Statement 3, the board works under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, option B 1 and 3 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 1, 2 and 3. See, the correct answer is option C 1 and 3 only. Statement 1 is incorrect because the headquarters of this National Turmeric Board is not located in Bangalore. It is located in the Nizamabad district of Telangana. Therefore, the statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2 and statement 3 are correct. So it is working under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and this board is responsible for the development of turmeric sector and the welfare of the farmers. And why we are discussing, because recently on January 14, India launched the National Turmeric Board with Nizamabad as its headquarters. And the next question, which one of the following ministries recently released the annual survey of unincorporated sector enterprises? Unincorporated sector. So the sectors which are, or the industries or firms which are not registered under the corporate law. So which of the following ministry recently released the annual survey of this unincorporated sector enterprises? Option A, Ministry of Labour, option B, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, option C, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and option D, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. See, it is talking about an economic sector, right? So therefore, we can easily eliminate two options, that is option A and option D. Then we have the Ministry of Statistics and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So in most cases, if there is any report or index, then in most cases, it is a work of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Therefore, here also the correct answer is option B, Ministry of Statistics and the Program Implementation. So why we are discussing? Because recently in the January, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, they started the work of the work for the annual survey of unincorporated enterprises. So why we discussed this? Because in January, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation started the work for conducting the annual survey of unincorporated enterprises sector. So this is an annual survey. So it is based every year they will do it. So what is meant by unincorporated enterprises? The enterprises which are not registered under any corporate law. So the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is responsible for conducting survey on these firms or industries. So the next question, consider the following statements regarding financialization in the context of Indian economy. Statement 1, financialization may lead to resource misallocation by encouraging speculative investments over productive capital formation. And statement 2, increased financialization necessarily reduces the effectiveness of monetary policy transmission by the Reserve Bank of India. Which of the given statements is or are correct? Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D neither 1 nor 2. See, before answering this question, we have to understand what is meant by financialization. Financialization is a process of phenomena where the financial markets and financial institutions gets control over the real economy. For example, in the recent times, we saw the rise of many fintech companies in India. For example, this Paytm, PhonePe, Zerodha, Upstocks, Grow, right? And what happens if the fintech companies are rising like this? The investors, because of the speculative motive, that means they will think that, okay, these firms will make profit in the near future, so let's invest in these firms. So therefore, this may lead to resource misallocation, and this can also undermine the productive capital forming areas in the economy. Therefore, the statement 1 is correct. And coming to the statement 2, increased financialization necessarily reduces the effectiveness of the monetary policy. The increased financialization can force the RBI to go for altering the monetary policy, but it is not necessary that that the financialization can reduce the effectiveness of the monetary policy. This statement sounds a little extreme, and we can eliminate this. Therefore, the statement 1 is correct option. The statement 1 is the correct one, and the correct option is option A 1. So why we are discussing this? Because recently the economic survey of 24-25 warned that the excessive financialization can harm the economy. And coming to the next, in the context of GDP estimation in India, consider the following statements. What is meant by GDP? The total monetary value of goods and services produced within the country during a particular period of time, right? And we have 3 methods for calculating this GDP. First is the product method, income method, and expenditure method. So you can read these methods from the 12th NCERT chapter 2 called National Income Accounting, right? The first statement, a fall in the mining sector output is likely to affect the GDP estimation via both the production and income methods. And statement 2, growth in the service sector contributes more significantly to GVA than to GDP under the expenditure method. So if you use any method, that is either it can be income method, expenditure method, or the product method, the result will be same. Okay, if you study the mining sector using the production or income method, the result will be same. Or if you study the service sector using GV or expenditure method, then also the result will be same. Therefore, the statement 1 is correct and the statement 2 is incorrect, because you will not get a different result if you if you use any 3 of these methods, right? Therefore, the statement 2 is incorrect while the statement 1 is correct. Therefore, the correct answer is option A, 1 So why we are discussing this? Because recently the India's real GDP grew to 6.2% in the third quarter of the financial year 24-25. So what is meant by real GDP? To understand this real GDP, you can read the same chapter from the 12th NCERT. So real GDP is a GDP which is adjusted to the inflation. For example, last year the GDP will be 100, okay, and this year the GDP is showing 130. So we may think that, okay, this GDP is increasing, but this increase in the GDP may be because of the inflation in the economy. Therefore, the real GDP refers to the GDP which is adjusted to the real the inflation in the economy. For example, if you take the 130, the real growth of the GDP will be just 110, and the extra 20 will be because of the inflation in the economy. So that is known as real GDP. So read the 12th NCERT chapter 2, National Income Accounting. And the next question, now we came to IR, right? And with reference to the Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, consider the following statement. Statement 1, India is a signatory to the treaty but not ratified it. And statement 2, the treaty allows peaceful use of nuclear energy under international safeguards. See, we know that the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and it was signed in the year 1970. What is the main objective of this non-proliferation treaty? That is preventing the spread of the nuclear weapons. We know that the nuclear weapon has a great potential to bring catastrophe, right? And realizing this, the world powers decided to contain the spread of the nuclear weapons. But that was in the late 1960s. So remember that by the time almost every superpowers in the world developed the nuclear weapon, and already there is a power imbalance, and because of that, India refused to sign and ratify this non-proliferation treaty. And we also know that we conducted the nuclear experiment called Operation Smiling Buddha. And therefore, the statement 1 is incorrect. And the statement 2, the treaty allows peaceful use of the nuclear energy. Yes, one of the principles of the non-proliferation treaty is used for peaceful purpose. Yes, and it is one of the principles of India's nuclear policy also. And under the international safeguards, yes, the international authority, that is the atomic agency, can monitor the nation's nuclear capability, right? Therefore, the statement 2 is correct, while the statement 1 is incorrect. Why we are discussing this? Because the non-proliferation, that is in the year 2025, marks the 55th year of the non-proliferation treaty. It was signed in the year 1970, but it was introduced in the year 1968. And here we can see some of the important facts about the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. It was opened in the year 1968 and came to force in the year 1970. And the members, nearly 191 countries are members to this treaty, including the 5 nuclear weapon states. They are USA, Russia, UK, France, and China. So you can see that all of them are part of the alliance of the World War II, right? And India is not a signatory to the treaty. And what are the 3 pillars? Non-proliferation, that means containing the spread of the nuclear weapon. Disarmament, that is promoting global nuclear disarmament. And this is still a matter of conflict since 1960s. And that means who will disarm first? That is a major question. And the third is the peaceful use, that is promoting the peaceful nuclear technology for the betterment of the society, and that too under the international safeguards. So coming to the next question, with reference to the extradition framework in India, consider the following statements. Statement 1, the final authority of granting or denying extradition in India lies with the judiciary under the Indian Extradition Act of 1962. And statement 2, India is a party to multiple global conventions that facilitate extradition even in the absence of bilateral treaties. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, what is meant by extradition? Extradition refers to handing over fugitive from one state to another. For example, in the recent times, we saw the case of Tahabur Rana, one of the conspirator behind the Mumbai terror attack of 2008, and he was hiding in United States. And you can see that the United States government decided to hand him over to India, And that time what this man did is he approached the United States Federal Court and applied for a stay that he will be persecuted in India in the name of religion if he come to India. So the United States, and he continued in United States for some time, and recently he got handed over to India, right? And so now we will come to the question. The final authority of granting or denying extradition in India lies with the judiciary under the Indian Extradition Act of 1962. So in the case of United States, the authority lies with the government, and in the case of India, also it is same. The authority lies with the government of India, that lies with the executive. But the thing is, the person can approach, similar in the case of United States, the person can approach the Indian judiciary, that is, he can approach the Supreme Court seeking stay. That means if Indian government wants to extradite some person to another country, then that person can approach the Supreme Court of India seeking a stay. Therefore, the statement 1 is going wrong here. It is not with the judiciary, it is with the executive. Therefore, the statement 1 is wrong. And coming to the statement 2, India is a party to multiple conventions that facilitate extradition even in the absence of bilateral treaties. Yes, this statement is correct. So we can see that there are many conventions. For example, the United Nations Convention against the organized transnational crime, and this convention was held in 2000. And then we have the Convention against a narcotic drug, and that was in the year 1888. Sorry, that was in the year 1988. And then we have the convention, the United Nations Convention against corruption, and that was in the year 2003. So India participated in all these conventions, and this convention facilitates the extradition even if there is a absence of any bilateral treaties between these two nations. Therefore, the statement 2 is correct while the statement 1 is incorrect. So here you can see why we are discussing this, because recently the extradition case of Tahabur Rana, and finally he came to United States handed him over to India, and his his trial, everything was through online only, okay, considering the security reasons. So here you can see the extradition. Extradition refers to the formal process by which one country hands over a fugitive to another country, and the legal basis, it is governed by the Indian Extradition Act of 1962, and the final decision lies with the government of India, but he can approach the Supreme Court, the higher judiciary, seeking stay or for the reconsideration of the government's decision. And the next question, with reference to the Indus Water Treaty, we know that recently, followed by the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, India suspended the Indus Water Treaty with the Pakistan. So with reference to the Indus Water Treaty, consider the following statement. Statement 1, the treaty permits India to construct run-off the river hydroelectricity projects on the western rivers, provided that they do not restrict the flow beyond the permissible limits. Statement 2, the neutral expert decision is binding and cannot be challenged in the court of arbitration. And statement 3, the World Bank is a signatory to the Indus Water Treaty and plays a role in dispute resolution process. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A 1 and 3 only, option B 2 and 3 only, and option C 1 only, and option D 1, 2 and 3. See, according to the Indus Water Treaty, India got all the east flowing rivers, that is Ravi, Beas and Satluj, right? While the Pakistan got the west flowing rivers, they are the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. But even though the Pakistan, the western rivers are allocated to Pakistan, India still has certain rights over the western rivers, and India can use the water from the western rivers for non-consumptive purposes, including hydroelectricity projects. Therefore, the statement 1 is correct. And coming to the statement 2, the neutral expert decision is binding and cannot be challenged in the in the court of arbitration. We know that the dispute resolution mechanism under this treaty has 3 tiers. First is there is a permanent Indus commission, but if the dispute is not containing in the commission, then the World Bank will organize the neutral expert, and the expert decisions are not satisfied, then the parties can approach the court of arbitration. Therefore, the decision from the neutral expert panel is not binding. Therefore, the statement 2 is incorrect. And the statement 3, like I already mentioned, the World Bank will be appointing the neutral expert panel to deal with the dispute. Therefore, the World Bank is a signatory. Yes, the Indus Water Treaty is signed under the mediation of the World Bank only. Therefore, the World Bank is a signatory to the Indus Water Treaty and also plays a role in the dispute resolution process, because the World Bank only will be organizing this neutral expert panel. Therefore, the statement 3 is also correct. Therefore, the correct answer is option A 1 and 3 only. So coming to the Indus Water Treaty, you can see some of the important facts about it. It was signed in the year 1960 and after long years of negotiation, and it was mediated by the World Bank. And coming to the reverse allocation, the objective dividing the Indus water system peacefully between India and Pakistan. And coming to the river allocation, the western rivers went to Pakistan while the eastern rivers went to India. Western rivers Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, right? And in the eastern rivers Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Even though the Pakistan got the western rivers, India still can use the water from the western rivers for non-consumptive purpose, including hydroelectricity, agriculture and for other domestic needs. Next we have a factual question from current affairs. The question is Project Waterwork, recently seen in the news related to option A hydropower project in the Red Sea announced by Egypt. Option B, a wetland conservation initiative launched by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And option C, sea cable project announced by Meta. And option D, United States initiative for the conservation of the Great Lakes. See, it's a factual question and the correct answer is actually option C, a sea cable project announced by the Meta. And this is going to be the largest sea cable network in the world. So it is covering around 50,000 kilometers, connects India, Europe, North America, South America and Africa. So the next question, consider the following statements regarding the Manama Dialogue. Statement 1, it is an annual summit held in Israel to address the geopolitical and the security issues of the world. Statement 2, it has been initiated since 2004. And statement 3, to participate in the Manama Dialogue, a nation should be a member of NATO. How many of the above statements are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, all the 3, and option D, none of the above. See, the correct answer is actually option A, 1 only. It is an annual summit held to address the geopolitical and the security issues of the world, but it is not held in Israel, it is held in Bahrain. And the statement 3, to participate in the Manama Dialogue, a nation should be a member of NATO. No such criteria, because recently India participated in the Manama Dialogue held in Bahrain, and it is initiated since 2004. Yes, that is correct. Recently we can see India participated in the Manama Dialogue held in Bahrain. So the next question, consider the following statements regarding Global Energy Efficiency Alliance. Statement 1, it was launched in COP29 by Azerbaijan. Statement 2, it aims to double global energy efficiency by 2030. Which of the above statements are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. See, the correct answer is actually option B, 2 only. It was launched in COP29, but not by the Azerbaijan. It was launched by the United Arab Emirates. Okay, so the Azerbaijan launched another fund that is known as Climate Action Fund. Okay, and the headquarter of this fund is located in Baku, that is the capital of Azerbaijan. And you can see one more financial initiative was discussed in this COP29, that is New Collective Quantified Goal. That is this financial initiative is aiming to raise an annual fund for climate change beyond $100 million, right? And the next is it aims to double the global energy efficiency by 2030. Yes, this statement is correct. So therefore, the correct answer is option B, 2 only. Yes. So why we are discussing this? Because recently the United Arab Emirates, they introduced this in Baku during the COP29. And the next is another factual question from the current affairs. Which one of the following organizations recently released the World Energy Transition Index? Statement 1, option 1, World Economic Forum, B, World Bank, C, International Monetary Fund, and D, none of the above. See, the correct answer is actually option A, World Economic Forum. They released the World Energy Transition Index, and why it is relevant to India? Because last year in the 2023, the rank of India was 67, and in the year 2024, the rank got improved to 63. So we know that we took a lot of initiatives for sustainable, to transit our economy and our environment to more sustainable development, right? Pradhan Mantri Mufti Ghar Bijli Yojana. So like that, we have taken a lot of initiatives for energy transition. Yes, because we are discussing this because the rank of India got improved from 67 to 63, and Sweden tops the index. And the next question, consider the following statements regarding UN Water Convention. So statement 1, it is also known as the Convention on Protection and the Use of Transboundary Water Courses and International Lakes. Statement 2, its headquarters is located in Hague. And statement 3, recently Ivory Coast became the first African nation to join the United Nations Water Convention. How many of the above statements are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, all the 3, and option D, none of the above. See, the correct answer is actually option A, that is 1 only. Here the statement 2 is incorrect. The headquarters of this United Nations Water Convention, it is located in Geneva, and there it is not in Hague. Hague is located in Netherlands, so the headquarter of this UN Water Convention is located in Geneva. Okay, and the recently Ivory Coast became the first African nation. No, Ivory Coast was the 10th African nation to join the United Nations Water Convention. Okay, and therefore the statement 3 is also incorrect. And the first African nation to join the UN Water Convention was the nation Chad, and Chad joined the UN Water Convention in the year 2018. So therefore the statement 2 and statement 3 are incorrect. So the correct answer is option A, 1 only. So why it is in the news? Because recently the Ivory Coast became the 10th African nation to join the UN Water Convention. And the next question, the Yandu Declaration, recently seen in the news, is related to. So Yandu, it is a capital of Cameroon. So something happened in Cameroon, right? So the option A, Africa's commitment to nationalize critical minerals, and option B, African nations' commitment to eliminate malaria, and option C, the Russian initiative to resolve the territorial conflict. So like I already mentioned, that it is the capital of Cameroon, so therefore we can eliminate this option. And next, it is Uganda's initiative to reform prisoners. This also we can eliminate. So considering the option A and B, so the correct answer is actually option B, African nations' commitment to eliminate malaria, because in the year 2019 the malaria cases in Africa was 239 million, and now it is it got raised to 249. Okay, so considering the rise of this malaria infection, the nations came together in Cameroon and decided to eliminate the malaria, and that is why it is in the news. So it was an initiative of nearly 11 African countries. So the health ministers from these African countries, so that includes Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, and nearly 11 African nations participated in this meeting, and the outcome of this meeting was Yandu Declaration. The next question, with reference to the BIMSTEC regional grouping, consider the following statements. Statement 1, the BIMSTEC Secretariat is located in one of its landlocked member states. See, we know that the BIMSTEC headquarter, the Secretariat, it is located in Dhaka, that is in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is not landlocked. So we can eliminate the statement 1 easily. And statement 2, the Bangkok Vision 2030 document adopted in the recent summit outlines a roadmap for prosperity and connectivity. So we can consider this option. And coming to the statement 3, BIMSTEC's original founding members included Nepal and Myanmar. No, we know that in the initial stage it was known as BISTEC, right? That is Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. So that time the Nepal and Myanmar were not members of the BIMSTEC. So what is mean by, first of all, what is BIMSTEC? BIMSTEC is a regional grouping in the Bay of Bengal, right? So this plays an important role in addressing the geopolitical issues and security in the Bay of Bengal. And it was founded by these 4 nations, and later the Nepal and Myanmar joined. Therefore, we can eliminate this statement 3 also. So the correct answer is 2 only, that is option A. So why we are discussing this? Because we know that recently only the BIMSTEC summit was held in Thailand, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the BIMSTEC summit. And not this, and this summit happened during the time of the Myanmar earthquake. So here you can see some of the important facts about the BIMSTEC. It is the full form is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, founded on 6th June 1997 through the Bangkok Declaration. And initial name, the founding members are the Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. And later, the Myanmar and the Nepal also joined, and then it became the BIMSTEC, right? And the headquarters, it is located in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and the summit will happen in once in every 2 years. So this is the frequency of the summit, and the last summit was held in this year during the time of the Myanmar earthquake, right? And not this, these are the basic details about the BIMSTEC. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for this compilation. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.